This chapter is specially dedicated to the reader, Zico 323. Click. The wooden door was opened by a man who exactly looked the same as Noah. Without needing to be told, the Dragon King knew this man was Alicia's father and the current emperor. This man looks more like the mature version of Noah. If someone said that both Noah and this man are brothers, I wouldn't have even a trace of doubt. Not to mention the fact that this man is clearly a fifth-order cultivator. He is suppressing his aura. So I cannot correctly judge how strong is he, but my dragon instincts is telling me that this man is even more dangerous than Laura. Father, I am back. The man named Ronnie hugged his daughter with a gentle, loving smile. Seeing how fast this man switched from being cold and stern looking to gentle, kind and loving, Aditya could not help but remember about a certain person who is also overprotective of his daughter. I guess both Julia and Alicia's father are the same. Both men are overprotective of their daughter. I wonder if the fathers of the other 5 goddesses are also overprotective like Adam and Ronnie. Behind Ronnie, Aditya saw a few other figures. They are Alicia's mothers. Alicia had told Aditya that her father had 3 wives and her biological mother was the second wife. While Aditya was recalling the things that Alicia told him about her family, one of the women walked out with a surprised look. Era. It looks like our daughter has found a handsome young dragon. Dragon? Noah, Ronnie, Flora, and Nora all were shocked hearing the word dragon. Aditya was the most shocked here. Aditya knew that as long as he suppressed his bloodline, no one, not even a fifth-order cultivator, would be able to tell that he was a dragon. But this woman who looks very similar to Alicia was able to find his race just being near him. Just how did this woman find out about this secret? Unless it's necessary, Aditya never tells anyone about his race. Originally Aditya and Alicia had agreed to hide the fact that Aditya was a dragon, but now their secret was exposed the moment he met her mother. A dragon? Ronnie narrowed his eyes and cautiously looked at Aditya. Noah still looked shocked. Only Bianca looked very calm and collected. Alicia understood that since her family had learned about Aditya's race, she had to explain things before her family misunderstood Aditya. Actually, Aditya has the Crimson Dragon bloodline. Normally he suppresses his bloodline as no one senses his dragon aura. Ronnie still looked at Aditya suspiciously. Well, if you're a dragon, then why I couldn't sense your dragon aura? There is no way a normal dragon would be able to suppress his dragon aura from the fifth-order cultivator. Aditya smiled before replying with a calm look. My dragon bloodline happens to be a bit special than others, that's why. As far as Ronnie knew, even those who had rare dragon bloodline couldn't hide their dragon aura. Aditya's words made him think that this man must have some sort of secret. From his words it was clear that Aditya did not wish to share his secrets. Allow me to introduce myself. I am Aditya. It's nice to meet you all. Aditya offered a bow as a form of greeting. Bianca looked satisfied with Aditya's politeness. We can introduce ourselves later. For now you can come inside. Aditya was their guest and it was rude to keep guests standing outside the house. After walking in, Aditya was given a pair of slippers. After wearing them, Aditya followed Alicia to the living room. While walking to the living room, Aditya noticed that this house looked nothing extraordinary. Everything inside and outside the house looked very normal. If no one knew the emperor or his family, they would think that the owner of this house is a middle-class family. Alicia's father and mother already had walked to the living room and was waiting for them. After Aditya wore the slippers, Alicia walked up to him and whispered into his ear. Don't make any mistakes. If do, then this will be over for me and for you. Knowing Alicia's father's character, the man would not simply let Aditya leave. After walking the corridor, both of them entered the living room where they found 7 people sitting on the couch. The people who were sitting in this room were Alicia's family. The woman who looked like she was in her 30s was Alicia's grandmother. Despite being almost 200+ years old, the woman looked like she was only 30 years old. There wasn't any wrinkles or any scars on her fair skin and beautiful face. Just like everyone in the family, the woman was wearing a beautiful black kimono. The woman appeared to be around 5 feet 8 inches. The woman had black hair that she had tied in a bun. The most noticeable thing about her face was the mole under the right side of lower her lip. Her name was Olivia and she was a beginner 4th-order cultivator. Hello everyone. I am sure by now everyone knows, but let me say it, this is Aditya and he is boyfriend. I have chosen him as my future partner and my husband. The goddess held Aditya's right and said with a smile. It was very rare experience for Aditya. Aditya was the only person in the whole world who gets to enjoy this kind of experience. Everyone in the room had different expressions. At this moment everyone had their eyes on Aditya. This was not the first time Aditya had been in a tense situation. This was also not the first time Aditya has been in a situation where he was the main focus. This is the first time in his both lives, Aditya was feeling slightly nervous under pressure. Being looked by Alicia's entire family made Aditya feel as if he had become a child and now was being scolded by the elders. When he met Julia's parents, her mother and father was very kind and did not give Aditya any pressure. But Alicia's parents were complete opposite. Even though they haven't said anything, just being stared made Aditya, the Dragon King, the man who is the ruler of millions of lives, slightly nervous. How ironic is that? After what it felt like an eternity had passed, Olivia, Alicia's grandmother, smiled. Why the two of you are standing there? Come and sit here. Olivia signaled Julia and Aditya to sit on the same couch on which she was sitting. Hearing Olivia's words, Ronnie, his brother and both brothers' wives were confused. Mother is inviting Alicia and Aditya to sit on the couch. Does that mean Mother accepts Aditya as Alicia's future husband? Even Ronnie wasn't sure. When the Emperor was in front of his mother, he always felt like a child. He could never understand what his mother was thinking. Alicia sat on Olivia's right side. Aditya was about to sit on Alicia's right side as he felt sitting directly next to her grandmother would be considered rude. Aditya, you can sit on this side? The black-haired woman patted the empty space on her left side. Aditya did not think much. He simply nodded and sat on grandmother's left side. Meanwhile, the entire family was shocked. Even if Ronnie was the emperor, in this house, his mother was the real empress. To this date, he secretly took advice from his mother. Of course he did not let his son or his daughter know about it. If they knew about it, Ronnie felt he would lose his face as their father. Everything that happened in this house has to happen under Olivia's consent. She had invited and also had let Aditya sit next to her meant that she approved of Aditya as Alicia's future husband. Now whether Aditya was Alicia's real boyfriend or not, it would not matter anymore as the emperor's mother had decided on who is going to become his daughter's husband. Boy, let me introduce everyone. This is Thomas and the one sitting next to him is his wife, Nia. Aditya looked at Thomas who also had blonde hair. Aditya felt Noah, Ronnie and Thomas had inherited this blonde hair from Olivia's husband. Thomas was a 6 feet tall, muscular young-looking man. Thomas was a peak third-order cultivator. Compared to his brother, Thomas was not so talented at cultivation. But unlike his brother, Thomas was a battle maniac. The man loved fighting. According to Alicia, Thomas met his wife in a battlefield. Both were enemies and then both fell for each other. After Thomas defeated Nia, he directly proposed. His wife Nia was a gentle and beautiful-looking woman. The woman had light green hair. The baby that was sleeping in her arms also her light green hair just like her. You already have met Bianca. The other two are Bianca's sisters. The one sitting on her right side is her big sister, Nora. While the one sitting on her left side is her third sister, her name is Flora. Nora was a beautiful woman with peak second-order cultivation base. Nora was a half-elf. Due to being half-elf, Noah did not inherit his mother's elf ears. Nora had long blonde hair that she tied in a bun. She was also wearing a green leaf patterned kimono. Flora was Alicia's third mother. The woman had short shoulder-length red hair. The woman had beginner third-order cultivation base. She appeared to be around 5 feet 4 inches tall. She was shorter than Nora by 2 inches. Alicia's third mother appeared to be also curiously looking at Aditya. And lastly, there was Bianca. It would not be wrong to say that Alicia had inherited all of her beauty from her mother. Just like Alicia, Bianca also had black hair. Though was around 6 feet 7 inches tall. She was wearing a pink kimono that only enhanced her beauty. Grandma, I have question. Aditya is not sure if his question would be considered rude especially since this was their first meeting and this question might be somewhat personal. What is it? The woman named Olivia gave a gentle smile and asked. I wonder how did Aunt found about my race. I thought no one could sense my dragon aura. Aditya wasn't sure what to call Alicia's mother. Alicia had instructed him to call them Aunt. So he went on to call her Aunt since he had not officially married Alicia. It would be more appropriate to call her just Aunt. I can sense your dragon aura because of a special sensing skill. Aditya then remembered that Alicia's mother was a pure-blood royal mermaid. Maybe being a royal mermaid gave her some skill which made her sensitive to dragon aura. Also, you can just call me mother or mom or mommy. Seeing her teasing smile, Aditya nearly coughed out blood. He did not expect Alicia's mother to have complete opposite character compared to her daughter. Aditya gave an awkward smile and replied. I think I will go with Aunt for now. Aditya was always teasing his girl but he wasn't expecting to be teased by someone else. That is also by someone who happens to be Alicia's mother. Alright, but you're always free to call me mother or mom. I guess it will take you some time to adjust. Since Olivia had approved of Aditya, Bianca was already seeing Aditya as her son-in-law. She had to admit it was fun to tease this young man. Judging from his reaction, it seems Aditya was still a virgin. Alright, but you're always free to call me mother or mom. I guess it will take you some time to adjust. Since Olivia had approved of Aditya, Bianca was already seeing Aditya as her son-in-law. She had to admit it was fun to tease this young man. Judging from his reaction, it seems Aditya was still a virgin. Aditya can only give awkward smile in this situation. Aditya, why don't us about your parents and your family? Alicia's grandma asked. The woman wanted to know about Aditya's family and parents. She was also thinking of bringing Aditya's parents here to discuss about Alicia and Aditya's marriage. I don't have any family. I was born orphan. It was the old King Ahmed who was kind enough to adopt me and raise me and later I succeed his throne. Since Aditya's identity as the Dragon King's son is a secret to the whole world and to Alicia's parents, Aditya did not reveal anything about his real parents. I apologize if my question has hurt you. Grandma, there is no need to apologize. Aditya's polite and gentle temperament was increasingly making Olivia like Aditya even more. She felt Aditya was the perfect man for Alicia. Do you have any step-siblings? I don't have any step-sibling. Olivia's questioning did not stop there. She went on to ask many types of questions. Her questions mostly revolved around Aditya's private life. The entire family silently listened to the conversation that went on for hours. During their conversation, Flora had served green tea to everyone. Aditya really appreciated her for giving him a cup of tea. After non-stop talking with Olivia for hours, his throat was getting dry. Honestly, the tea was very good. The tea had a body-cleansing effect. By the way, I have a question to ask. Go on. Olivia took a sip of tea while listening to Aditya. What is a spirit stone? Aditya's question was meant for everyone. He wanted to know what is a spirit stone and how he can find them. Aditya's question had surprised everyone else in the room. Well, in simple words, you think of spirit stones as mana stones. But compared to mana stones, which are commonly found almost everywhere, spirit stones are very hard to find. The only place where spirit stones are mostly found are in the central continent. Even in the whole West Nia continent, we had found low-grade spirit stone only 4 times. All of those times, it had caused a clash between all major 5th-tier factions in the continent. Olivia closed her eyes, remembering the terror of the past. Even though the number of 5th Order that lived in this continent hasn't reached 2-digit, the power of 5th Order and clash between 5th Order cultivators has caused huge damage to the land and had taken the lives of 100,000s. One had to enough that a 5th Order was a complete different level. Just a simple attack from a 5th Order is capable of destroying a city. The mana that is stored inside the spirit stones are 1,000 times more denser compared to mana stones. If any cultivator below 5th Order tries to use spirit stones for cultivator, due to the rich dense and pure mana stored inside the stone, their bodies would explode instantly. Spirit stones are mostly used by 5th Order or high order beings. Spirit stones are also divided into 3 grades. The low-grade spirit stones are mostly commonly found among the 3 grades. While mid-grade spirit stones can only be found in central continent. As for high-grade spirit stones, even I am not sure of it. I know that high-grade spirit stones are impossible to find even in the central continent. The system did not specify on which grade spirit stones I should use to build the Dragon Palace. I guess I can use low-grade spirit stones. But the main question is, how I am supposed to find them. As far as I know, the eastern region do not have any spirit stone mines. Maybe the Deep Sea Palace knows something about it. I should ask Laura when I return. Aditya was already getting a headache. Just how he is supposed to find 50,000 low-grade spirit stones. Aditya, why are you looking for spirit stones? Alicia also looked curious and interested in Aditya's answer. I was planning on building a dragon palace for which I will need spirit stones. Sooner or later, since Aditya was going to build the dragon palace, he figured it wouldn't really harm him to tell Alicia and her family the truth. It's not like they can do anything to him even if they knew about the dragon palace. Dragon palace? Interesting. Aditya, do you mind telling me more about this dragon palace that you're talking about? Aditya helplessly smiled and honestly answered. For starters, even I have no idea what is this dragon palace. But I do know that this dragon palace belonged to the dragon monarch. As for what facilities the dragon palace has, even I am not sure. Dragon monarch? Olivia frowned hearing these 2 words. She couldn't recall reading or hearing about any historical figure who had the same name. It's a name that I found in some ancient textbook. Aditya quickly that he was saying too many unnecessary things. The existence of the dragon monarch is still a secret to the whole world. So Aditya, what do you think of granddaughter? What? What do you exactly like about her? Everyone knowing that Aditya was Alicia's fake boyfriend felt amused watching Aditya's reaction. From the sidelines, Alicia was also looking at Aditya. She had not anticipated this kind of question, so she had not come up with any answers. Alicia just prayed in her heart that Aditya does not mess up. Please Aditya, don't say anything that might expose both of us. Inwardly she was repeating these words. What the hell I am supposed to say in this situation? What do I exactly like about Alicia? If Aditya was asked the same question for Julia, he could have easily answered. I like how serious she is. I like her dedication and passion toward her work. She is a responsible woman with a great personality. Any man, I am extremely lucky to have her as my girlfriend. Aditya felt drops of cold sweat running down from his neck. He nearly said any man in his sentence. I see. Have you 2 done it? Olivia asked with a serious face. What? Grandma, what are you asking? The serious and cold-looking Alicia's personality broke down. Since her face was still covered under a veil, Aditya could not see her face. But from her red ears, it seems the goddess was embarrassed by her grandmother's question. However, Olivia ignored Julia while seriously looking at Aditya. Hee. It seems Alicia does have a different personality. It's just that she doesn't shows it to others. In some way she is just like Julia. Aditya inwardly smiled seeing Alicia looking all embarrassed. He realized that this is his chance to tease the goddess. Since he was here, why not have some fun by teasing the goddess? Grandma, we haven't done it yet. Aditya heavily pitched the yet word at the end of this sentence. The word yet immediately caught the attention of everyone. Aditya was meaning that he and the goddess had done everything other than doing the last and most final step. Alicia realized that Aditya's words must have been misunderstood by her family. She coldly glared at Aditya while gritting her teeth. This man. Julia was right. This man is a thick-skinned shameless wolf. I will get my revenge for this. Everyone other than Julia of course understood that Aditya was only joking as they saw the smirk on his face and the cold glare at Alicia was giving him. Although these 2 are not in a relationship yet, but it seems it won't take too long for them to fall in love. Olivia smiled while looking at her granddaughter. From her conversation with Aditya, the woman was sure that Aditya was a loyal and virgin man. He looked like he was an honorable man. Mom, it's lunchtime. While talking with Aditya, no one noticed that it was already afternoon. It was time for lunch. Let's have lunch then. Everyone sat down around a large round table. Aditya naturally sat next to Alicia, being her boyfriend. On his right side, Olivia was sitting. After the food was served, everyone started eating. In the dining table, everyone talked about various topics. Most of these topics was related to Alicia. Olivia and Bianca made sure to not make Aditya uncomfortable. The family always included Aditya in their conversation. Overall, Aditya was starting to enjoy his time with the Osborne family. After lunch. Alicia, why don't take Aditya to the capital and show him around? Alright. Since Alicia also had nothing else to do at home, she agreed with her grandmother's suggestion. By the way, where are you going? It has been more than 10 minutes since Aditya has started following Alicia in the capital. He has no idea where this woman was taking him. Why don't you guess? Alicia acted mysterious. Aditya unfortunately wasn't able to see the smile hidden under that veil. You're going taking me to meet you friends. Nope. Let's try again. Aditya thought for a few seconds and realized where they were again. Why didn't I think of it sooner? You're going to the guild. Alicia widened her eyes in shock. Sir, how did you know that I was taking you to my guild? Do you perhaps have some kind of power that allows you to read others' minds? Aditya picked up the flow and replied with a smirk. I can read people's hearts. I can tell that this young lady is in love. In truth, it wasn't that difficult to guess where Alicia was taking him. Knowing her personality and her love for money, the second thing that Alicia would do after seeing her family was obviously checking on how her business was doing. In terms of wealth, Alicia was undoubtedly the richest businesswoman on 7 continents. No one had earned more money by doing business than the goddess of wealth. Can sir please tell me the name of the person that has taken over this lady's heart? I can't give this young lady the person's name as I don't know his name, but I can give you some hints about that person's appearance. Would you like to know? Please. That person that this young and beautiful lady is in love with is over 6 feet tall. Anything else? Alicia asked back while barely holding her smile. Aditya pretended to think by stroking his chin with his right palm. The person that this young maiden in love with is called the Emperor by millions of people. He is highly respected. His name has spread all over the continent. Anything else? I can tell you more, but this young master's wish must be fulfilled first. This young master never offers his service to anyone for free. Aditya made a serious face. I wonder what this young master's wish is. This lady shall try her best to fulfill the young master's wish. But please have some mercy on this young lady. I barely have enough money to feed my family. Aditya nearly rolled his eyes at Alicia. Woman, you're the richest businesswoman in the entire world. Yet you're saying that you don't have enough money to feed your family. If other merchants heard your words, they would cough up blood and just die. This young miss can rest assured. Young master is not interested in money. This young master has a kind of problem. Young master has to pay a price every time he uses his powers to read other people's heart. Let me warn you, young miss, the price that young master has to pay is half of his lifespan. To prevent young master from having to pay half of his lifespan, the young man needs a certain thing from the certain whom he had read the heart of. If someone else heard Aditya and Alicia's conversation, that person would never doubt Aditya and Alicia. That person would think that everything that he was hearing was true. Young master, you're doing this young lady a big favor by telling me about the person whom I love. Just tell this young lady what you need from me. Although this young master is ashamed to say it, this young master requires a kiss from this young lady. For the next 1 minute, Alicia did not say anything. She just stared at Aditya. Aditya also looked at her. As the seconds passed, Aditya felt that he had gone too far. Maybe he should have asked for something else. Sigh. Since the young master is doing a big favor by telling this lady the appearance of my loved one, this lady shall give a kiss to the young master. But only after the young master has told this lady the appearance of my fated one. The person that loves this lady can fight 5th order cultivators and win against them. Wherever he goes, he is respected. He is a very handsome-looking man. His handsomeness can charm the hearts of all the maidens in his empire. Aditya gave Alicia a smirk and asked. Now, does the princess know the person whose appearance that this young master has spoken of? Of course, I know. The person whom you have spoken of is sitting right in front of my very eyes. But I am not sure about the handsome part. Wrong. I was talking about your father. Alicia's eyes widened. She realized that from the beginning, Aditya was hinting at her father. Hey, my lady, it's time for you to keep your promise and give me the kiss that I have been waiting for. Don't worry, if you're shy then we can pull the curtains and kiss in the darkness. I promise no one will know. Why should I give you a kiss? I never promised anything to anybody. Aditya narrowed his eyes and closely looked at the princess. Just you wait, sooner or later I will get that kiss from you. Humph. You can dream all you want but your dream will never come true. Soon the carriage stopped in front of the guild. Just as the carriage doors were opened, Aditya heard the voice of a girl. When he looked at the girl, he found a dark elf welcoming Alicia with a happy smile. The dark elf appeared to have shoulder-length white hair. The woman had tan skin and an angelic face. What made Aditya surprised was the fact that this woman had beginner 5th order cultivation. The dark elf woman was wearing a beautiful long white dress and had tied her hair in a ponytail. She had worn blood drop earrings which were very eye-catching. Sylvie, it's been a while since we met each other. How have you been doing? The dark elf woman named Sylvie and Alicia hugged each other. My lady, I have been doing well. What about you? Sylvie wasn't expecting her boss, Alicia, to return. It has been a few months since the last time both of them met each other. I have been doing well. Sylvie, let me introduce you to Aditya. He is my boyfriend. What? Sylvie's scream attracted the attention of everyone inside the guild building and the people who were walking on the streets. Everyone was looking at Sylvie and Alicia. Look, it's Lady Sylvie and Her Royal Highness. It seems the rumor of Her Royal Highness returning was true after all. It hasn't been even a day and Her Royal Highness has come to visit Lady Sylvie. Of course. They are best friends after all. One is the princess of the Ethereal Empire and the other is the owner and leader of the biggest guild in West Nia. There were some rumors that suggest Her Royal Highness had funded Lady Sylvie when expanding the White Lotus Guild. With his enhanced senses, Aditya was able to hear a thing or two about Sylvie and had managed to learn her identity. It looks like no one really knows that Alicia is the real guild leader. To the whole world, Sylvie is the guild leader. Sylvie, let's head inside and talk. Before Sylvie could reply, Alicia grabbed her right and pulled her inside the guild office. Aditya also followed Alicia and entered the guild. Inside the guild, there were more than hundreds of adventurers. Some of them were either sitting on the chairs and drinking, while some of the party members were looking for suitable missions with high pay and low risk. No one stopped Alicia as everyone in the guild knew her identity. Even the non-adventurers knew that Her Royal Highness was a regular visitor of White Lotus Guild. Aditya followed Alicia and Sylvie all the way to the third floor, which was the personal floor of the guild leader. Compared to the first and second floors, the third floor was very luxurious. Aditya sat down. Aditya nodded and then sat on the red soft couch. Alicia had brought Aditya to her personal room. This room was the guild leader's office room. This is where Alicia and Sylvie mostly held their meetings. The office room had a table opposite the door and next to the window through which the royal palace could be seen. 5 meters away from the table, 2 couches were placed opposite to each other. The floor was covered with a red carpet. The walls were beautifully painted. There were various painted arts of Sylvie and Alicia hanging on the walls. Alicia, is he really your boyfriend? Sylvie was looking at Aditya. Aditya was also looking at Sylvie. Aditya wondered just how old this young-looking woman was. Hee. Of course not. Aditya is acting as my boyfriend. So you're fooling your family. Sylvie, being Alicia's best friend, knew her friend's troubles and worries. You will be shocked if you knew about Aditya's identity. Alicia's words only made Sylvie, the beginner fifth order, more curious about this handsome young man's identity. His identity is... Alicia made a dramatic pause. Just say it. He is my fiancé. Sylvie widened her eyes. For a moment her entire body trembled as she looked at Aditya. For almost 2 decades, Sylvie has been hearing about the Dragon King's son. She never expected Alicia to fool her family with her real fiancé. Does your parents know about this? Sylvie felt her throat go dry. If the people learned Aditya's identity, she can only imagine the wild reaction that the people would have. Of course not. There is no such thing as engagement. Alicia and Aditya had come to an agreement. Neither of them was going to mention the contract or the fact that Aditya was technically Alicia's husband. Instead of claiming the goddesses, Aditya wanted to break off this contract so that the other girls could also be free. He did not feel good about forcing a girl to marry him. Even if Aditya married the 7 goddesses, there would be no feelings involved. It would be a tasteless, bitter and black and white life for Aditya and the 7 girls. This is not what Aditya wanted. I understand. Sylvie finally managed to calm down, but little she knew that her best friend was going to give her another big shock. By the way, Aditya's fiancée is the goddess of alchemy, Julia. Sylvie felt someone had struck her with multiple bolts of lightning. She almost felt like she was going to lose her consciousness. For the next 5 minutes, Sylvie did not speak. She tried to process the words that she heard. After a long time, Sylvie finally recovered and looked at Alicia again. You're not joking, are you? Of course not. Julia has been living with Aditya in disguise. 2 of them fell into love and now they are officially engaged. Aditya only came here because I owed him. Alicia, you're taking a big risk. Sooner or later, your parents will find out the truth. I can't even begin to imagine what would happen that day. Sylvie felt that her best friend was taking too many risks. You're worrying too much. My plan won't fail. Little did the goddess knew that her plan already had been seen through by her family. Bang! Just long, how do we have to keep running like this? By the way, where are you going? It has been more than 10 minutes since Aditya has started following Alicia in the capital. He has no idea where this woman was taking him. Why don't you guess? Alicia acted mysterious. Aditya Bang! How long do we have to keep running like this? This is the 2nd time where I nearly died. I had to sacrifice my men to get my ass saved. In the process, I have also lost almost all of my money and wealth. Sitting in a secret room, there were 11 people. All of them were holding a glass of red wine in their hands. Beside the 11 men, there were 4 beautiful maids who were going around and serving drinks to these 11 men. Whenever one of them emptied their glass, the one of the maids would pour more for them. Life has become hell for us. In just 2 months we went from being at the top to being at the bottom. We lost our status. Our wealth. Our power. Our respect. Everything that we held dear has been taken away from us. The one who spoke was a fat old man with bald head and white herd. The man appeared to be around 55 years old. This man was the Duke, a respected noble of one of the 14 kingdoms that joined hands with the Nepica kingdom to attack the Eastern Empire. In the end, they miserably lost the war. No one, not even a single person, had expected this outcome. The Eastern Empire turned out to be a lion hiding under sheepskin. After killing more than 1 million soldiers, the Eastern Empire did not stop there. Under King Aditya's order, his 7 generals went on to capture all 14 kingdoms. Count James and other nobles somehow managed to escape with their wealth. After escaping, they thought that the Eastern Empire would stop coming after them, but it turned out they were wrong. The emperor had sent his shadow warriors after them. One by one, all the nobles that fled started dying. Now only 11 more nobles were left. Count James, can you please tell me what really happened last night? Another noble who looked a little older asked the fat bald man named James. Last night, I was peacefully sleeping in my secret mansion, but suddenly the whole mansion was attacked. By the time I realized that the whole mansion was surrounded, it was too late. As a result, I had sacrificed my 2 powerful guards and my family to run away. While running away, I had even leave my wealth behind. Now I barely have enough gold coins. Last night, Nathan had sent his subordinates to hunt Count James. Nathan was testing if his subordinates was ready to take missions without him needing to lead them. Unfortunately, the mission was a failure. Although they managed to assassinate the Count's family, the Count himself managed to escape. I don't understand. We already have left our territories. We have gave up our powers. Even after doing all this, why the Emperor is sending his men after our lives? The truth is, if Aditya had given these nobles the option of surrendering, many of them would have surrendered. But Aditya was strictly ordered all the nobles to be killed. To some this might seem like the act of cruelty, but to Aditya, who knew what kind of men these nobles were, he wanted to end their lives and remove them from his territory. Just letting these viruses live in his land was corrupting his empire. Humph. It's obvious that the Emperor is after the money that we took while fleeing. But I am not going to give up hard-earned money to the Emperor. Some nobles rolled their eyes. You say hard-earned money? Exactly how hard did you work to earn this gold coins? Every one of us has tortured our own people in countless ways to fill our pockets. This is nothing but karma. Should we give up the money to the Eastern king? As long as I can live in peace, I don't mind giving up my wealth. Are you an idiot or what? Listen, I have made a plan to escape the Eastern Empire in the next 5 days. What plan? Everyone looked very curious and also little excited. 5 days from now on, a ship carrying slaves will go to West Nia continent. We can pretend to be slave traders and board on that ship and leave the Eastern Empire. As long as we reach West Nia, using the wealth we have, we can easily live a luxurious life. That's good idea. But how we're going to avoid the guards? Don't worry about that. I have secretly spoken with the guard captain. In exchange for 100 royal gold coins, he has agreed to give us free pass. What are we supposed to do after reaching West Nia continent? One of them asked. None of the nobles in this room had ever went to a different continent. Some of didn't know what kind of challenges they will face there. Don't worry about so many useless things. As long as we can leave the Eastern Empire, everything will become easy. At least we won't lose our lives. What about our businesses? Even though the nobles have lost their powers and their territories, their illegal businesses were still running. It's a matter of time before the Eastern Empire targets our businesses as well. There is no hope. I suggest that before everything is seized by the Eastern Empire, you guys sell your businesses to the local gangs. I guess I will just do that. One more thing. Don't anyone, not even your servants, about our plan of leaving the Eastern Empire. The only thing that stopped the nobles from leaving the Eastern Empire as their businesses and the fact that Aditya had increased the security in the borders. Now that the Stormal dynasty and the Thera kingdom had become allies, if the nobles went there, they would be captured as criminals and sent back to the Eastern Empire. In a way, these nobles were tapped from all sides. They can't even use the teleportation arrays as Aditya had put tight security around the teleportation arrays. No criminal is allowed to use the teleportation arrays. One of the nobles tried to use the teleportation array in disguise, but unfortunately that noble was captured. And was publicly executed along with his family. In the northern part of the Eastern Empire. Captain, everything is ready. A man appeared out of the shadow and reported to Nathan. The current Nathan had changed a lot. He had grown a little bit taller and also more mature. He was the leader of the assassins. Good. Surround the entire house first. Do not let anyone see you. If anyone does happens to see you, just kill them. If it's an innocent person, then knock them out. This time I don't want the same mistake to repeat. Otherwise. Nathan did not need to say the rest. Everyone under Nathan's division knew just how cold their captain was. Anyone that failed to live Nathan tests was heavily punished. The punishment was more like torture that lasted for days. Let's start. Nathan and all the assassins disappeared in thin air. At this moment 24 assassins had surrounded by the double-story wooden house. Nathan sneaked inside and easily killed the guards. Nathan was so fast that no one was even able to the face or the figure of the person who killed them. Nathan's killing technique was fast and swift. He did not make any sound. Also his weapons were coated with deadly poison that was made by Julia. The poison was strong enough to take down even a beginner fourth order. The nobles were holding their meeting at the basement of the wooden house. Bang! Nathan kicked open the door and entered inside. After entering, he coldly smiled seeing the scared faces of 11 nobles. The last 15 months, these 11 nobles had been playing mouse and cat games. Now Nathan had finally found them together. It's checkmate. Nathan and his men captured the 11 nobles and took away their money. Captain, should we kill them? No, they still have valuable information. Torture them and find out about the people betrayed the Eastern Empire and has worked with him in the past. I also want the information on the local gangs and criminals. Aditya had given Nathan the task of clearing the corruption and criminals' activities from the northern part of the Eastern Empire. Aditya had no idea what was going on in Eastern Empire. No one in the continent knew that Aditya had come here. He had spread a rumor saying that the emperor has went to close doors to cultivate in hopes of breaking through mid-third order. In his absence, his generals and his unofficial prime minister was working very hard. So Aditya, are you interested in having another wife? Huh? Sylvie, what are you saying? It has been a few hours since Aditya, Sylvie and Alicia had started talking. It was mostly Sylvie who took the initiative to ask questions to either Aditya or to Alicia. What? I am being serious here. I am already more than 300 plus years old. I am still a virgin. Is it wrong for me to try finding a husband? Sylvie pitifully looked at Alicia. Sylvie was close to being 400 plus years old. She had lived a long life but has failed to find a man who can shake her heart and make her fall in love. While Sylvie's family was traditional family and wanted Sylvie to marry the person that her parents had arranged. The dark elf rejected and simply left home. It has been more than 200 years since Sylvie had left home. She was still angry at her parents. While her parents tried to bring Sylvie through various methods but failed to do so as Sylvie is a beginner fifth order. Sylvie turned to look at Aditya with a beautiful smile. What do you think, Aditya? While I am above 300 plus years old, if you compare it to the age of humans, I am around 30 years old. I can cook, clean and also become an excellent wife. All you will have to do is just give me a baby. Sylvie. For some reason Alicia looked very angry with Sylvie's words. It was as if her words had triggered the goddess's wrath. Aditya looked at Alicia. The calm, collected, reserved goddess that never lost control of her emotions was now looking angry. This was the first time Aditya had ever seen the goddess get angry. As for why she was getting angry, Aditya felt he knew the reason. How many children do you want, Sylvie? Aditya asked Sylvie with a smile. Meanwhile Alicia glared back at Aditya, which the Dragon King ignored. Let me see. Since there are 7 continents and 7 goddesses, I want 7 children. Inwardly Aditya wondered what does the number of continents has to do with having children. Why stop at 7 when I can give you more? Why don't you give your personal info? After I go back, I will contact you. We can slowly start by going to various dates and hanging out. That's a great idea. Sylvie took out a piece of white paper and started writing her contact details. Stop! The goddess Alicia appeared in front of Sylvie and tore the white paper on which Sylvie had written her contact info. Hey! Why did you do that? Aditya asked in a dissatisfied tone. Humph. Why do you want another wife? You already have one. Alicia sat down while folding her arms under her chest. Princess, don't you know that dragons have the second most stamina after incubus? Our sex drive cannot be satisfied with only one woman. Not to mention the fact that my dragon bloodline is more powerful and special than ordinary dragons. What Aditya was saying is very true. But he did not have any intention of getting another woman beside Julia. Aditya considered himself as a loyal man. After his bloodline evolved to divine crimson dragon bloodline, Aditya painfully realized that his sex drive had reached a new level. At first it was very difficult for him to control himself, but later he started using his right hand. Every night, unless he uses his right hand at least for an hour, Aditya won't be able to go to sleep. After sunset, Aditya and Alicia left the White Lotus Guild. Aditya has learned many things about the White Lotus Guild from Sylvie. The White Lotus Guild originally was founded by Alicia. But to prevent anyone from suspecting that the Ethereal Empire is trying to form an intelligent network, Alicia made Sylvie the guild leader. Other empires wouldn't have let the White Lotus Guild operate in their empires if they knew that the princess of the Ethereal Empire is running the White Lotus Guild. Only a few people knew that it was the goddess of wealth who run the White Lotus Guild. The purpose of the guild was not just to make money. The real purpose of the guild was to collect information. Through the White Lotus Guild, the Ethereal Empire was keeping an eye on every major powerful kingdoms and empires. It was a necessary step. As for the earning that came from the White Lotus Guild, the Emperor reduced tax that the White Lotus Guild has to pay. Aside from taxes, Ronnie does not take any of his daughter's earning even though his daughter is the richest merchant in the whole world. The Ethereal Empire was already very rich because of the large quantity of natural resources that the Empire had. Also, even if the Empire wasn't that rich, Ronnie never would have used his daughter's income. A huge chunk of Alicia's earning goes to charity, to hundreds of orphanage that was set up all around the Ethereal Empire. While the rest of her earning was reinvested to other continents. Even without being present on other continents, the goddess of wealth was already had large amount of wealth in other continents. After returning home, Aditya had dinner with every member of the Osborne family. After dinner, the whole family had another meeting where everyone talked about various topics. Whether it was political topic or other kinds of topic. Aditya, your bedroom is next to Alicia's, which is on the 2nd floor. Aditya, come with me. After having dinner, Noah and Ronnie had went back to the castle as they had some important matter to handle. While others went back to their bedroom to sleep. Do you have any problem staying in this house? If you're feeling uncomfortable, then both of us can head back to the castle and stay there. While Alicia's family was very traditional and lived a simple life, even though her family could have a luxurious lifestyle just like other royalties and nobles, Alicia wasn't sure if Aditya is comfortable staying in a wooden house. It's actually the opposite. I feel very comfortable. I don't have any problem staying here. Alicia's family made Aditya very comfortable. He did not feel like he was the outsider here. Even though everything here was very simple, Aditya liked it. Aditya can feel that the whole Osborne family was very close. Maybe living a simple lifestyle and living in a small house has brought the whole family even closer. That's good to know. While talking, both of them had reached the second floor. After that, both Aditya and Alicia separated and entered their own rooms. Aditya was happy that he does not have to share a room with Alicia. Aditya is sure Alicia is also feeling the same. Scene change _______. Sigh. Why I am even working so hard. Instead of laying on my comfortable bed, I am being forced to work. It looks this will be another sleepless night for me. Sylvie looked a little tired. It was impossible for a beginner 5th order to feel tired after a day of long work. What Sylvie was feeling was mental exhaustion. It was not easy to become the guild leader. With power, she also got lots of paperwork as bonus. I wish I can find someone to take my place. I have been doing this for almost 9 years now. Sigh. The dark elf sighed once again. 9 years ago when she became the guild leader, all of her freedom was unofficially taken away from her. Since then she has been spending 90% of her time in her office. All the profits that the White Lotus Guild earned was divided. Alicia took 50% while Sylvie get to keep the remaining 50%. The only reason Sylvie had agreed to become the guild leader 9 years ago is because Alicia had offered to give her 50% of the guild's total earning. Sylvie still remembers the day when a 10-year-old girl approached her and asked her to become the guild leader. At first Sylvie found the girl's words ridiculous. But after learning the girl's identity in her tempting offer, Sylvie eventually agreed to become the guild leader. At that time, Sylvie also needed money. But now Sylvie is rich enough to buy the Eastern Empire. Knock. Knock. Who is it? Sylvie felt a little annoyed. My lady, something terrible has happened. You can come in. Click. The door was opened by a 30-year-old handsome man. The man was wearing black t-shirt and black pants. Despite looking weak and skinny, the man actually was peak 4th order cultivator. Issei was the name of the vice leader of the White Lotus Guild. Issei had long black hair and he was around 5 feet 5 inches tall. What happened, Issei? Sylvie was frowning. Deep down she was wondering what made the vice leader of the White Lotus Guild came up to her at late night. My lady, in the north there is a city called Blackwood City. I am sure you must have heard of it. Sylvie nodded her. The Blackwood City that Issei was speaking of was a city of the Ethereal Empire. The Blackwood City was located at the northern border of the Ethereal Empire. What lied beyond the Blackwood City was the Heavenly Hemlock Forest. The Heavenly Hemlock Forest was filled with countless magical animals. The Heavenly Hemlock Forest was divided into 3 regions. The core region, which is also known as the central region of the Heavenly Hemlock Forest, was home to some of the strongest magical animals on the West Nia continent. The magical animals that lived in this part of the forest were so strong that even Sylvie, who was a beginner 5th order, didn't dare go there. In the past, any 5th order that had went to that region has never returned. The core region of the Heavenly Hemlock Forest was also known as the Forbidden Land. Did some of the magical animals attack the Blackwood City again? In every 6 months to 1 year, a few thousands of magical animals attacked the Blackwood City. Of course the Ethereal Empire easily dealt with the magical animal attacks. Issei gave a bitter smile and said. Actually, this time, the situation is even worse. What actually happened? A few hours ago, just as the sun had down and the darkness had enveloped the Blackwood City, more than 100,000 monsters attacked the Blackwood City. At first we all thought that this was another attack from the magical animals with a bigger number compared to the other times. However, we have underestimated the enemy. It would be more accurate to say that none of us had anticipated the magical animals or the monsters to be this strong. Previous times, whenever the monsters attacked the Blackwood City, the strength of the strongest monster wouldn't be higher than beginner 3rd order. But this time, almost half of the monsters had 3rd order power. We somehow managed to keep the monsters from breaking our defensive line. But this all changed when thousands of 4th order monsters showed up. Does that mean? Sylvie felt her blood run cold as her throat got dry. Her entire body shook as she tried to keep herself from showing any strong reaction in front of Issei. She bit her lip so hard that blood started coming out. Yes, my lady. Unfortunately, the Blackwood City has fallen. Subtracting the number of people that we managed to evacuate in time, my guess is more than 1.5 million people and soldiers have died. Sylvie tightly clenched her fists in anger. She never thought that in a few hours' time more than 1.5 millions of people would die in the hands of monsters. What about the people that worked in the White Lotus Guild branch? Every city in West Nia had a White Lotus Guild branch office. Each of the branch office had a teleportation array through which the White Lotus Guild transported goods from one branch office to other branch city throughout the entire continent. Out of the 30 people, only 19 of them were able to leave the city. while other 11 choose to stay behind and to hold back the monsters. Compared to the damage that the Ethereal Empire has taken from this incident, the damage that the White Lotus Guild had taken was neglectable. Sigh. Alright, you may leave. Before I leave, I have another thing to report. For some reason, hearing Issei's words, Sylvie had a bad feeling. The monsters that attacked the Blackwood City were fire ants. Other than fire ants, there were no other types of monsters in the horde. Issei's words had caused a big explosion to take place in Sylvie's mind. What? I thought fire ants were weak monster with first-order strength. A normal fire ant around 0.3 to 0.5 meters big. They normally had the strength of mid-first order, while the queen had peak first-order strength. Fire ants were very easy and common to kill as they were weak monsters. No one in the whole world has heard of fire ants having the power of third and fourth orders. My lady, we haven't found any answer. The strongest fire ant that the survivors has seen was a peak fourth-order fire ant. The ant was said to be around 2 meters big in size and had terrifying strength. Really, thank you very much to all those who send support with valuable golden tickets. My lady, we haven't found any answer. The strongest fire ant that the survivors have seen was a peak fourth-order fire ant. The ant was said to be around 2 meters big in size and had terrifying strength. Alright, I will look into this matter. Report everything to His Majesty. Issei bowed his head and then took his leave. Sylvie couldn't understand how fire ants, a types of magical animals that only supposed to have the strength of first order, managed to reach fourth order. According to Issei, there was at least thousands of fourth order fire ants. Even Sylvie is not sure if she can take on 1,000 of fourth order fire ants at once and survive. A few hours later. Aditya, Alicia, Sylvie and Noah, all four of them were standing inside the teleportation circle. The news had already spread throughout the whole empire. Ronnie decided to send Noah to investigate. Following Noah, Sylvie also offered her services. Since both her best friend and her big brother was going, Alicia also decided to join along with Aditya. Welcome to Rose Hill City. All the guards bowed their heads in the presence of the crown prince and the princess. Everyone easily recognized Sylvie as she was equally popular as the princess. No one knew who this handsome young man with long blue hair and crimson eyes was. Rose Hill City, the city was originally a small village in the mountain. A few hundred years ago, the emperor, Ronnie's father and Alicia's grandfather personally made efforts to develop the Rose Hills village into one of the most prosperous cities of West Nia. The Rose Hill City was only around 90 kilometers away from the Blackwood City. Since the Rose Hill City was closet to the Blackwood City, everyone feared that the magical animals might attack this city next. So the emperor had sent millions of soldiers, along with various advanced and powerful defensive barriers and cannons. While the Blackwood City had around 1.8 million people living in it, the number of people that lived in the Rose Hill City was almost 3 times the total population of Blackwood City. The Rose Hill City was home to more than 5.2 million people. This number now has been increased to 6.2 million with the millions of troops that the emperor sent. The city was surrounded by tall mountains. As the Rose Hill City was located on top of a hill, the temperature of the city was lower than other cities. The people of this city were used to the harsh winter. Right now, even though it was midnight, the whole Rose Hill City was in a state of turmoil and panic. The citizens were afraid that they were going to experience the same fate as the people of the Blackwood City did. All the rich merchants and rich peoples and the people who can afford the price of using the teleportation array were demanding to leave the city. The emperor saw this coming, so he had asked 10,000 guards to protect the teleportation array and to not let anyone leave the city. Not only that, no one was allowed to leave or enter the city in this period. Alicia's father was confident that 1 million troops and advanced cannons would be enough to stop the fire ants horde from entering the city. The emperor felt that if suddenly a large number of people moved to other cities, this would disturb the order of his empire and would cause more chaos. You all may rise. Give me a brief detail on the present situation. A man who's appeared to be around 6 feet 4 inches bowed before Noah and Alicia, then started reporting. Your Royal Highness, just as His Majesty has ordered us, 1 million troops have been placed outside the city. The thousands cannons also has been placed on the walls and are ready to fire. Each of our advanced cannons has the power to kill a fourth order with a single shot. Also, the city defensive barrier is also ready. Even a fifth order would have trouble breaking the defensive barrier. Good. We will be going ahead to see what has happened to the Blackwood City. The man hesitated before speaking. Your Royal Highness, with all due respect, I think it's dangerous for you to go there. Noah coldly looked at the man who was also the commander of the 1 million troops. Levi, I have a fifth order cultivator with me. Besides, I am not that weak. We're not going there to fight. You're worrying too much. Noah replied in a displeased tone. If Sylvie had not asked Alicia's father to go along with Noah, Ronnie would have sent a fifth order to go along with Noah. I apologize for my rude words. Levi bowed his head again before standing aside. Let's go. The soldiers moved aside and made a path for the crown prince, princess, guild leader and the man with blue hair. Alicia, can you tell me a little about Levi? Aditya whispered in Alicia's ears. Actually, Levi is a peak fourth order half beastman. Although he does not have the physical appearance of a beastman, having the blood of beastmen has made Levi extremely powerful. I heard that there was a time when Levi had single-handedly killed 7 peak fourth order cultivators alone. Also, Levi is a genius when it comes to commanding and leading the troops. The troops looked at the princess whispering something to this unknown man. Everyone felt that both of them were flirting. Everyone felt that Aditya's identity was also something very special. I am not sure, but I think Levi already has the power of half-beginner 5th order. Technically he cannot take on a beginner 5th order. But no peak 4th order can defeat him. Aditya looked at Levi, who stood at the center of the teleportation array. It looked like Levi was calling a few powerful mages. By the way, Aditya, can you fly? Noah suddenly asked this question after they walked near the northern gate of the Rose Hill City. 2 crimson dragon wings appeared on his back. He then nodded to Noah, as if letting Noah know that he can indeed fly. Good. In that case, let fly all the way to Blackwood City. Noah took out a mid-4-star red blood drop earring and wore it in his left ear. Sylvie, it looks like you will have to carry in me. Since Alicia neither had any artifact that would let her fly nor had the powers or skills to fly, she can only depend on her best friend Sylvie. Sylvie as a 5th order naturally had the power to sky. To her, flying in the air is the same as walking on land. Alicia, I don't think I will need to carry you this time. Aditya is better suitable to carry you. Alicia wasn't expecting this betrayal from her best friend. Sylvie ignored Alicia's heartbroken eyes and flew up. Noah also followed Sylvie and flew up as well. Princess, no need to be shy. Come here. This is not the first time I have carried somehow while flying. So you don't have to be worried. Aditya shamelessly began taking advantage of the situation. This only increased Alicia's anger towards Sylvie and Aditya. I swear I will get my revenge for this. Just you wait. While gritting her teeth, Alicia walked up to Aditya. In front of her brother, she still had to act as Aditya's girlfriend. Aditya put right arm under her knees and then picked up her in a princess carry, surprising Alicia. After picking up Alicia in his arms, Aditya also flew off to the sky. Meanwhile, the 100,000s of troops who saw the princess being carried by an unknown man felt shocked. At this moment, without even knowing, Alicia and Aditya's relationship has been known to 100,000s, which will later spread throughout the entire empire. Noah, Aditya, and Sylvie all three flew in the direction of north at a moderate speed. If in case the group is forced to fight, they were preserving their mana and stamina for it. The group was around 150 meters above the ground. While flying, the cold wind of the winter hit their bodies. But no one looked affected by this. After flying for a few minutes, Aditya stopped while Noah and Sylvie continued flying. Why did you stop? Alicia asked in a low tone. Right now the goddess of wealth was really embarrassed. Fortunately or also unfortunately, Aditya couldn't see her embarrassed face because of the veil. If Aditya saw her face, he would have been charmed by her embarrassed face. This was the first time anyone other than Sylvie had carried Alicia like this. Aditya was the third male in Alicia's life after her brother and father to get this close to her. Being carried like this, Alicia was slightly nervous and strangely also feeling a little excited. Maybe she was feeling excited because she was flying, or maybe there is a different reason for her excitement. Princess, please wrap your arms around my neck. I can't move at my full speed if you don't hold on to me. I might even drop you if you don't hold me tightly. The last part was obviously threat to Alicia. Hearing Aditya's shameless words, Alicia glared at him. For a powerful beginner 3rd order, Aditya can easily carry her while moving at his full speed. This man. I swear I will get my revenge on you. Alicia knew that Aditya was taking advantage of the situation. If Alicia had known that Aditya was this shameless, she wouldn't have brought him here. I should have believed in Julia's words. Alicia bit her lips while moving her hands to wrap them around his neck. Aditya nodded with a satisfied smile while saying, much better. You know, princess, maybe you should try eating less. You're so heavy. Aditya began flying. This time his flying speed was faster than before. What did you say? Aditya pretended to not see Alicia's cold murderous glare. Alicia looked like she wanted to kill Aditya right here. For some reason he felt he better not look at her eyes, otherwise he will regret it. Nothing. Storm flight. Crimson lightning dash. Boom. Alicia had to tighten her hold as she felt the sudden increase in Aditya's speed. Right now she couldn't see anything properly. The goddess was seeing things in a blurry motions. Using storm flight, Aditya had gotten 100+ increase in his agility. While the crimson lightning dash gave him 200+ increase in his agility by consuming 20+ mana per second. So Aditya had a total boost of 300+ extra speed, which made him current agility reach 901+. And for a 3rd order this much speed wasn't normal at all. Aditya soon caught up to Noah and Sylvie. Both of them were surprised seeing how fast Aditya was moving. After catching up with Noah and Sylvie, Aditya stopped using Crimson Lightning Dash to match Noah's speed, which were somewhere around 700+. While Sylvie could have moved even faster, she didn't, as she did not want to leave Noah and Aditya behind. After flying for several minutes, the group was finally near Blackwood City. Aditya, Alicia, Sylvie and Noah all four stopped. Right now they were approximately 700 meters away from Blackwood City. Aditya used the Crimson Flame to summon a 100 meters big orb of Crimson Flame, which lit the entire area and making it easier for everyone to what was going on. What is this? Aditya, Noah, Alicia and Sylvie, all four had a look of shock and surprise on their faces. Sylvie in her centuries-old long life has never seen anything like this before. What is this? Aditya, Noah, Alicia and Sylvie, all four had a look of shock and surprise on their faces. Sylvie in her centuries-old long life has never seen anything like this before. The Blackwood City that once stood proudly as one of the big and most developed cities of the Ethereal Empire was completely in ruins. The glory of the Blackwood City had become a thing of the past. There was no trace, no sign of the former developed city that once used to be the home of more than 1.7 million of people. What truly remained is the city's past glory and the sacrifice that the Ethereal Empire will never forget. This incident had become a scar to the Ethereal Empire's reputation. The Ethereal Empire, the strongest empire on the West Nia, had suffered a loss of 1.5 million is a big very thing. If the strongest empire cannot defend against the horde of fire ants, then what about other empires? Just what sort of chaos the fire ants had brought with them. While standing 150 meters above the ground in the cold night of winter, Aditya could smell the thick iron smell that was still lingering on the air. The Blackwood City, a city that stood for more than 500 years, was destroyed in the matters of hours. The city that always has been protecting itself from monsters' ambushes now had fallen with its 500 years of glory and pride. Just what sort of force did the 1.5 million people of this city face? The destruction had taken place not only in Blackwood City but also at the surroundings of the city. Even the surroundings areas were not spared. From the sky, as the cold snow fell from the clouds as a small northern breeze cooled everything, the four people who were standing at the sky was experiencing various kinds of emotions. Standing at the sky, the goddess of wealth, even though at this time she was being held by the person who is her husband in contract, looking down she felt nothing but coldness at this moment. Even the warmth of his body failed to give her any comfort. She just silently clenched her fist while looking down. The goddess will never forget what she has seen today. Although Sylvie did not even know these 1.5 million people who had died, she felt nothing but regret and anger. Sylvie is not a good woman. She is a woman who values her interest. But at this moment, looking down, she felt her blood boil in anger. Right now she wanted nothing more but to rip the fire ants' heads. She was so angry that she was having a hard time controlling her emotions. Before coming here, Sylvie was prepared to see something cruel and unforgettable. Sylvie has to admit that what she was currently seeing had exceeded her expectations. This was pure hell. The most affected person was Noah. The young crown prince who would soon become the next emperor felt nothing but endless anger and thirst for blood seeing 1.5 million of his people die. Leaving aside the huge number of resources and the wealth that the Ethereal Empire has lost from trying to protect the Blackwood City, the future emperor felt his heart ache while looking down. The future emperor had clenched his fists so tightly that his nails had dug into his flesh and was drawing out blood. He looked so angry that his body was violently shaking. The more he saw, the more his rage increased. As a result of his violent emotions, sparks of golden lightning was flickering around his body without him even knowing about it. The most calmest one in the group was Aditya. He had seen worse things in the nightmare that he had almost 3 months. Looking at the dead bodies of the people, Aditya felt pity. Failing to protect the Blackwood City was no one's fault. No one had expected that this time they were going to be attacked by fourth-order powerful fire ants. The 1,000 meters area surrounding the Blackwood was also painted in crimson-red color. There was countless corpses which were half-eaten lying around the city. From the sky, Aditya can see the human-sized big fire ants silently eating the dead humans. He can see the dead bodies of a mother and a son. Both were dead. But the mother's hand was holding the son's dead body close to her. Her body was slowly being eaten by 2 fire ants. Both of her legs were already eaten. In another part, Aditya saw the dead body of a pregnant woman. Whether it was young or old, whether it was women or men, whether it was humans or other races, no one was spared. The blood of the 1.5 millions had painted everything in 1,000 meters red. It was as if the green forest had turned crimson red. Heavy smell of iron was in the air. The fire ants continued eating the bodies of elders, young ones, children, women and men. The whole Blackwood City had become a ruin. The city walls that previously protected the citizens had collapsed from many sides. There were large cracks and holes on the 15-meter-tall city walls. Almost all the houses, buildings inside the city was destroyed. What remained was debris, pebbles, dust, and shattered glasses. Half-eaten bodies with their skeleton exposed was left to rot. There were many people whose eyes were still open. Looking at their eyes, one can see the terror that they experienced before having a cruel death. In front of the city, there were hundreds of small and big craters which showed how fierce the entire battle must have been. In some of the craters, there were dead bodies of the fire ants and also the dead bodies of the soldiers and the adventurers who bravely fought to protect and also to defend the city. What was shocking and most surprising is the fact that the dead bodies of the fire ants were being eaten by other fire ants. It seemed the fire ants did not care who they were eating. As long as they saw a dead body, they would start eating it. Even in the cold winter, some of the buildings were still burning. The castle of the city lord was also destroyed, even the scope of repair. Looking at everything from the sky, Aditya knew that the Blackwood City was truly lost. The city cannot be rebuilt even if they managed to kill all the fire ants. There were still hundred thousands of bodies that was directly buried under the buildings and houses. Also the fire ants who had finished eating was now could be seen digging. When Aditya looked at the other side of the city, he saw that countless numbers of fire ants were dragging the dead bodies under the ground. It seems the ants had dug the ground and made an underground network system. Aditya is not sure how deep or how big or how large this underground tunnel system was. In his calculation he estimated the number of fire ants that was currently in the Blackwood City and the area surrounding it was above millions. While he is not sure how many fire ants were hiding in the underground tunnels. But judging from the auras inside the tunnel, the number of fire ants that attacked the Blackwood City should be above a few millions. Just how did this huge number of fire ants went unnoticed for this long? Noah asked in a choked tone. He was barely holding his anger. Every few weeks, the city lord was ordered to send a group of 1,000 soldiers to check the magical monster activities in the outer region of the heavenly hemlock forest. Noah believed that this huge number of fire ants shouldn't have been went unnoticed by the exploration team. According to what I know, a fire ant queen can lay up to 800 eggs per average day. While this number can increase up to 3,000 during peak season. While it takes around 1 or 2 weeks for the eggs to hatch. So how is it possible for an ant queen to hatch million of eggs? Maybe the fire ant queen has mutated. What? Noah, Alicia and Aditya. The trio looked at Sylvie in shock. Back in my hometown I have read that there is a 0.010% chance that a mutant fire ant queen can be born. A mutant fire ant queen can break the limitations and can reach higher orders as long as it's given enough time and resources to cultivate. Sylvie then looked down at the abnormal sizes of the fire ants and felt that her theory is true. What's more frightening is that the queen can give birth to other mutant fire ants. Each mutant fire ant is big as a human size. Unlike a normal ant queen, the mutant fire ant queen can give birth to 15,000 to 20,000 eggs depending on the availability of the food supplies. Not only that, the queen has the same intelligence as a human, so it can think and make decisions for its entire colony. If the mutant ant queen really laid 20,000 eggs per day, in just 30 days it would have 600,000 mutant fire ants. But that does not explain why the mutant fire ants managed to become so powerful in such a short time. There has to be some other secret. Inwardly, Aditya cannot express how shocked he was. So the reason why the mutant fire ants attacked the city is because they were hungry. They needed enough food supplies for their entire colony, which is only expanding with each passing day. Noah felt gloomy while saying these words. To think 1.5 million of his citizens were killed just to become mutant fire ant food. Aditya looked at the mutant fire ants that were currently dragging the dead bodies inside the tunnels that the other mutant fire ants worked to create. If the ants are truly hungry, then it won't be long before the ants attacks the Rose Hill city. I think that the ant queen might divide its forces and goes on to attack other cities which are located in the west and east. Around 200 kilometers to the west, the borders of another empire lies. Even if the mutant fire ants heads in the direction of south, the ethereal empire does not has to worry too much. But I am concerned about the cities that lies in the east. In short, we will have to defeat this huge colony of the mutant fire ants to solve all of our problems. Aditya felt that a big part of the fire mutant ants are still in the outer region of the heavenly hemlock forest hunting any magical animals that these mutant ants found. The total number of mutant fire ants might be above 10 millions or maybe 20 millions. This time the threat was just too big. We cannot waste our time here. Unless we want another city to fall which would cause the deaths of millions, we will have to go back and inform this to father. Everyone agreed with Noah's words. This time the threat was too big. Let's head back. As much as everyone wanted to fight the mutant fire ants, they currently had no time knowing the threat that was hovering above ethereal empire. Humans, I don't you will be going back. Humans, I don't you will be going back. Aditya, Noah, Alicia and Sylvie all four froze. They felt their bodies turn stiff. Even though these simple words had no trace of killing intent, everyone felt their backs get cold. It was as if they were being watched by the predator. Turning their heads behind, Aditya and others widened their eyes in shock seeing the fire monster that's standing 100 meters away from them. A beginner 5th order. Even it was cold snowy night of winter season, even the darkness, they were clearly able to see the red glowing body of the fire ant. The fire ant appeared to be around 3 meters tall. The ant had evolved to look more like human. Instead of having 6 legs, the fire ant had 2 legs. The fire ant's foots were morphed into sharp claws. Though its entire body was covered by red hard scales that looked more like armors. The red scales on its body was glowing. The ant's hands were slightly longer and with its nails morphed into red sharp claws. The beginner 5th order mutant fire ant appeared to have 2 antennae on top of its forehead. The ant had the face of a regular human male while its body was a combination of ant and human. This is the first time I have met a beginner 5th order cultivator. It's an honor to meet you. The ant then licked its mouth while looking at Sylvie. I haven't gotten the chances to taste the flesh of a beginner 5th order. But I heard that the meat of 5th order is very delicious. Aditya, Alicia, Sylvie and Noah felt disgusted hearing the mutant ant's words. Why are you attacking the human cities? We have never done anything to you. Noah asked while shaking in anger. If this mutant ant wasn't a 5th order he already would have attacked mutant fire ant. The mutant fire ant looked at Noah and then looked down. It's beautiful. The smell of blood in the air and how easily our race slaughtered the people of your empire. I have never enjoyed myself this much. The begging and pleading screams of our victims has made this quest even more enjoyable. The mutant fire ant spoke without bothering to answer Noah's words. The more the mutant fire ant spoke, the more angry Noah became. He became so angry that his pupils were violently shaking. The mana in his body had become unstable from his rage. His heartbeat had reached a new level while his face had turned red from anger. Answer the question. Sylvie raised her voice while also releasing a bit of her beginner 5th order aura. The mutant fire ant finally stopped looking down and looked at Noah and Sylvie. As for Aditya and Alicia, the mutant ant completely ignored them as beginner 3rd order was nothing in front of his eyes. I don't think there is any need to answer the question when you all know the reason very well. From its words, Aditya was sure that this mutant ant has heard what they were saying earlier. How did your race become so strong all of a sudden? This was the biggest mystery. How this is possible for a race of fire ants to have so many 3rd order, 4th order and also 5th orders in such a short time? About that. I apologize, but I am not obligated to answer that question. But let's just say that we have received some help from others. The Queen had strictly ordered every mutant ant to not reveal the source of their strength, which is why the mutant fire ant refused to answer Sylvie's question. Betraying the Queen was never an option. To an ant, the Queen is their everything. Meanwhile, Sylvie silently looked around. After sensing that there was no other 5th order mutant fire ant in the Blackwood City or in the surroundings, she slightly felt relieved, but the danger was not even close to being over. Sylvie has sensed the presence of more than hundreds of powerful 4th order mutant fire ants. Normally, for a beginner 5th order cultivator, taking on 1 or 2 or even 100 4th order cultivators is a very easy thing to do. The problem was that the enemy also had a beginner 5th order. Sylvie will have no choice but to fight this beginner 5th order monster. But how will Noah, Aditya and Alicia protect themselves in her absence when their cultivation is in 3rd order? Dark Elf, prepare to die. After killing you, I shall enjoy my meal. In the blink of an eye, the mutant fire ant whose name was Aiden disappeared from Alicia, Aditya and Noah's sight. Where did he go? Alicia couldn't stay calm in this kinds of situations. She has in a panicked tone. Clang. Aditya and Noah saw and also heard 2 metal collision sound coming from their right. When the trio looked at their right, the only thing that they saw was 2 rays of light. One light was red and the other light was light brown. The red light belonged to the mutant fire ant Aiden, while the brown light belonged to Dark Elf and the guild leader Sylvie. Right now both 5th order cultivators were moving so fast that neither Aditya nor Noah was able to see them anymore. The only thing that Alicia saw was 2 rays of lights colliding against each other while making clanging sounds. So fast. I can barely see anything. Aditya was slightly impressed how witnessing the clash between 2 5th order cultivators. Unlike Noah, who also couldn't see anything, can only see 2 rays of lights clashing, Aditya, whose stats was way higher for a 3rd order, he was able to blurry faces of Sylvie and Aiden. We will have to leave. I can sense the presence of more than hundreds of 4th order fire ants. If hundreds of 4th order mutant fire ants surrounds them, Noah felt that it would become impossible for them to survive, which he really did not want it to let happen. Aditya was the only one who remained the calmest. Hearing his brother-in-law's panicked tone, Aditya just smiled. Brother, we are not leaving without Sylvie. But there are more than hundreds of 4th order mutant fires. We cannot defeat them. It would be best if we leave this to Sylvie. Noah sensed the 4th order mutant ants flying in their direction. Big brother, you can relax. Aditya will handle them. Noah looked at Alicia and Aditya. He didn't know what was wrong with them. How can both of them remain so calm when facing more than hundreds of 4th order mutant fire ants? There is no way a beginner 3rd order can defeat hundreds of 4th orders. Noah felt that Aditya and Alicia was being overconfident. Meanwhile, Sylvie and Aiden both continued exchanging moves. The mutant fire ant was fighting with its claws while Sylvie had a green shiny katana which she used to attack the mutant ant. Clang! 2 rays of lights hit once again before retreating back. After creating a distance of 200 meters, 2 5th orders finally stopped. This monster has advantage in both speed and strength. His body is extremely harder. Harder as a 5-star defensive armor. While his strength is frighteningly very high. Every time their attacks clashed, Sylvie felt her hands go numb from ants are ridiculously strong. They have the ability to carry between 10 and 50 times their own body weight. If that wasn't enough, fire ants also had dangerous poisonous ability. While no one knows just how strong the poison of beginner 5th order mutant fire ant was. But Sylvie was sure that if she was poisoned this battle would be instantly over. The mutant fire ant widened his eyes and it saw the White Lotus Guild leader take out a faint green breastplate and wear it. The light green armor was also glowing brightly. Looking at the green armor, Aiden felt as if he was looking at hundreds of leaves joined together to form an armor. This is a 5-star armor. Aiden was quite shocked. For ant that is supposed to live under the ground, you seems to know about armor's weapons. Sylvie did not stop there. She then took out 2 green pauldrons and wore them to protect her right and left shoulders. If all these wasn't though, on top of that, Sylvie took out 2 green vambraces and a gauntlet and wore it on her left arm. The only advantage that Sylvie had against this 5th order mutant fire ant is that she had the supply of mana recovery potions, she had armors, and weapons which can enhance her powers and increase her chances of winning the battle. I never expected that one day I would meet someone who can force me use my armor and weapon. Fortunately I had kept them in my storage ring in case of an emergency. Sylvie's storage ring had hundreds of healing, recovery, mana recovery, agility boost, strength boost and stamina recovery potions. She also had a custom set of 5-star armors that she made for herself using a large amount of gold coins. Sylvie is always prepared for battle. When I first met her, she was wearing full body armor. Alicia calmly smiled. Even if the mutant fire ant was powerful, she truly believed that Sylvie can defeat it. 5-star or more, I wonder what ridiculous functions a 5-star armor would have. Aditya had a 5-star weapon but did not have any 5-star armor. Seeing Sylvie using 5-star armors, Aditya as a rune monarch class holder can tell that these 5-star breastplate, pauldrons, vambraces and gauntlet are very powerful. Meanwhile 129 4th order mutant fire ants had blocked Aditya, Noah and Alicia's path. Compared to Aiden, these 4th order mutant fire ants had the appearance of overgrown fire ants. The only outstanding thing about their bodies was the red glow, which was easy to spot in the darkness of night. Looking at their sharp claws and red armor like skin, one would feel as if nothing in this world can harm the fire ants. Be careful. Ants are very powerful. Even a first-order fire ant can match the strength of a mid-second-order human cultivator's strength. If possible, she would like to reduce Aditya's burden any way she can. But in this situation, except for praying for everyone's safety, the goddess can't really do anything. I should have put more time in my cultivation. Also, Alicia's family did not pressure her to cultivate like they did with Noah. Alicia always had a fourth-order guard protecting her, so she never really felt the need of powers. Alicia had come here thinking that there will be no fifth-order fire ants and Sylvie can easily protect her. She realized how naively she has been thinking. At this moment, the goddess regretted the fact that she neglected her cultivation. If she had put a little more time in her cultivation, she could have reached fourth order a lot sooner. Here they can come. Clang. While the two rays of lights, which were Sylvie and the mutant fire ant Aiden, was fighting, 129 fourth-order ants had blocked Aditya, Noah and Alicia's escaping path. If this wasn't enough, a large number of ant had been alerted of the enemy and now was flying toward their direction. Hold on tight, princess. Things are going to get ugly. Saying that, the Dragon King took out his partner, the adamantite doomblade, which was the mid-5-star gifted by Adam. The sword weighed 3 tons. The sword was very heavy and also extremely sharp. Alright. Use this. From her storage ring, Alicia handed a blue fist-sized star-shaped object. This is a mid-rank 4-star defensive artifact. The artifact can withstand one deadly and life-threatening attack from peak 4th order. You better use it, princess. This Dragon King does not need any of that. However, instead of listening to Aditya, Alicia placed the object on his chest. After the object was placed on his chest, the star-shaped object glowed in bright blue light before the light enveloped around Aditya, and then the light dimmed down before disappearing. Little sister, what about me? At this moment, Noah felt a little sad that his sister cared more about her boyfriend's safety and ignored her own brother. Alicia rolled her eyes, fully knowing that her brother was only pretending to be sad. As the crown prince, Alicia knew that her father has given Noah several 4-star or maybe even a 5-star life-saving artifact. Aditya held Alicia in his left arm while holding the adamantite doomblade on his right arm. When he held her with his left arm, his hand was on her slim and soft waist. At this moment, the goddess's chest was pressed against his chest. However, the goddess had no time to blush as she found crimson lightning rapidly flickering around Aditya's body before his whole body was covered in crimson lightning. For some reason, the crimson lightning didn't seem to harm Alicia. Lightning armor. Crimson lightning dash. Swoosh. Noah suddenly heard cracking sounds. When he turned his head, the only thing that he saw was a crimson bolt of lightning charging past him toward the 4th-order ants. The next moment, before his brain can even process what was happening, he saw a big explosion take place. Boom. Meanwhile, Aditya, whose current speed had reached 801+, from using Crimson Lightning Dash, while his strength had reached 461+, from using lightning armor, appeared in front of the 4th-order mutant fire ants. When he appeared near them, the first thing he noticed was their legs and mouth, which were covered in the blood. Before the ants could react, the Dragon King condensed his crimson lightning in his adamantite doomblade, causing the black sword to be surrounded by crimson lightning. In that split second, he swung the adamantite doomblade using his full strength. With the swing, hundreds of crimson lightning bolts were released from the adamantite doomblade. The crimson lightning bolts moved so fast that it went on to hit all the 4th-order mutant ants that blocked their paths. Boom! Noah's eyes widened in shock and in disbelief. To think a beginner 3rd order would be capable of taking of 129 peak 4th order. This was simply impossible. He was sure that not even the goddess of war can do that. Aditya knew that his attack hasn't killed a single ant, though it did stun them for a few seconds. Swoo! Aditya moved faster than the wind. Alicia had wrapped her arms around his neck with her eyes closed. Even though she was also a beginner 3rd order, at this moment her head felt a little dizzy given how fast Aditya was moving. When she opened her eyes, she felt the whole world had become moving blur to her. Aiden and Sylvie, who were clashing not too far away from Aditya, and others were stunned by the display of his strength. Both beginner 5th order powerhouses stopped fighting and looked at Aditya, who was taking of 129 ants alone. Under the shocked stares, he moved so fast that none of the peak 4th order mutant ants couldn't even react in time. The ants had no idea how they lost their heads. A few seconds later, holding Alicia in his arms, the Dragon Monarch appeared behind 129 4th-order mutant ants. Noah widened his eyes and mouth as he watched the scene where 129 4th-order mutant fire ants began falling from the sky with their heads being cut off. A 4th order was the second most and strongest powerhouse to an empire or a faction after 5th order. 4th order is not something that can be taken lightly. Even if Noah used his artifacts and his full power, he is not 100% confident about defeating a beginner 4th order, much less defeating 129 4th order in matters of seconds. Just how powerful is he? Can he take on a beginner 5th order? Just thinking of this possibility, Noah had goosebumps. Princess, it's over, you can open your eyes now. Aditya chuckled seeing how tightly Alicia was holding him. Already. When Alicia opened her green pupils, what she saw was 129 dead bodies of 4th order ants falling from the sky. Alicia wasn't that shocked. After all, not so long so, this man had defeated a beginner 5th order. It looks like I'm worried for nothing. Noah felt a little stupid for panicking for no reason. Now he understands why Alicia and Aditya both looked so calm before the battle. Ding! You have killed a peak 4th order mutant fire ant. Your experience points has been saved for future use. Ding. You have killed a peak 4th order mutant fire ant. Your experience points has been saved for future use. It appears Sylvie and that beginner 5th order mutant fire ants fight is still going on. Aditya was still using Crimson Lightning Dash. With 801 agility, he was able to follow both Sylvie and Aiden's movements and see how they were fighting. Clang. Clang. As Sylvie and Aiden were exchanging blows, after noticing what Aditya has done, Aiden suddenly felt a sense of threat from the dark blue-haired young man whom he had underestimated at first. Aiden's whole body was surrounded by a orb of flame. As he charged at Sylvie in full speed to Alicia and Noah, it felt as if they were seeing a meteor moving at super fast speed. Sylvie felt the increase in the mutant fire ant's speed. To counter back, she waved her right hand. In the blink of an eye, more than 50 large rectangular-size earth walls had formed in front of her. Each earth layer was 2 meters thick and 20 meters wide. Aiden was confident that he can break through these walls easily. He charged at the walls at full speed. Boom! Unfortunately for Aiden, he could not break through all the walls. After breaking 41th walls, he couldn't get past the 42nd wall. The flame that had surrounded his body also started dimming down. Aiden knew that his head had cracked from the impact. He can feel the feel on his head. Sylvie used this chance to control the remaining 9 earth walls. She controlled the remaining 9 walls and threw them at top of Aiden. Bang! The earth shook from the impact of 9 large earth walls which were 20 meters size and 2 meters thick. What sort of power was that? Sylvie's class allows her to use earth element. She can harden any the ground. These earth walls were not just any normal earth walls. Back to Sylvie, the dark elf did not rest when she had managed to bring her opponent to the ground. A fight between 2 5th orders would only end when one of the party is dead. Clap. Sylvie suddenly clapped her palms together as she condensed more of her mana in her palms. Life-draining snacks. 9 dark brown color snakes appeared from the ground. Just when Aiden managed to free himself, he found 9 brown snakes had surrounded him. Each of the snakes were around 1 meter thick and 10 meters long. Unlike normal snakes, these snakes had sharp teeth that gave them a frightening look. Aiden sensed the danger. He quickly flapped his wings with the intention of flying away. Just when he started flying, he found something coming from above. Aiden looked up. He was horrified to see a green poisonous liquid coming at him. Without even needing to ask, he and everyone knew that this liquid was a poisonous acid. Sylvie had created this acid by using her powers. Dark elf, don't underestimate me. With a roar, from Aiden's body a orb of flame expanded outwards. The flame orb burned the brown snakes that were aiming to bite him. The flames also countered the poisonous acid that was coming from the top. This dark elf is powerful. She is expert in using various kinds of magic spells. If I get careless even for a second, I might end up dying. After fighting with Sylvie, it was clear that this dark elf was expert in using weapons and also using magic. She was a dual-type cultivator. Meanwhile, thousands of 3rd order and 2nd order ants had gathered in front of Aditya, Noah and Alicia. The number was continuously increasing. More and more mutant fire ants were flying out of their nest and joining their army. The mutant fire ants were intelligent enough to know that attacking Aditya alone won't do anything. Aditya was also busy enjoying the fight between 2 5th orders. He did not care about these 3rd and 3nd order mutant fire ants. He waited to kill all of them together. And now it was the time to do it. I really want to use acid rain and kill them, but I can't do it, otherwise I might end up harming Noah and Sylvie. Although I doubt my acid rain might injure a beginner 5th order. Aditya lazily stretched out his right hand with his adamantite doomblade pointed at the 100,000s of 2nd order and 3rd order mutant fire ants. Aditya began condensing his mana onto the adamantite doomblade, causing the black sword to start glowing in faint red. Alicia and Noah watched the entire process with curious gaze. After investing enough mana, the Dragon King lazily swung his sword, releasing a huge blast of crimson flame. The crimson flame was devoured a small part of the sky. The crimson flame easily covered 1,000 meters of the sky. Alicia, who was in Aditya's arm, felt the terrifying heat of the crimson flame. Noah felt his mind had long stopped working. Just how many more secrets did Aditya had? The crimson flame, a legendary flame that is also known to be the strongest flame in heaven and earth. Who wouldn't know about it? The 3rd order and 2nd order mutant fire ants tried to escape, seeing the terrifying 1,000 meters big crimson flame that was heading in their direction. Unfortunately for them, no one was able to escape as the attack was very fast. In a matter of second, the crimson flame devoured all the 3rd and 2nd order mutant fire ants whose number had exceeded 100,000. Aiden stopped to take a glance at the miserable fate of his brothers. He felt pain in his heat seeing so many ant soldiers die in the hand of one person. The crimson flame devoured everything. Not only the ashes of the ants were left behind. The crimson flame did not stop there. The attack went on to hit the destroyed Blackwood city that now has become a nest and a ruin. Boom. Really, thank you very much to all those who